everybody. Ben here. I am the Buell Club's personal trainer, and I am also going to be getting certified as a clinical exercise physiologist. So, an example of that is somebody who might conduct cardiac rehab, if you've ever heard of people doing that. I'm also going to be getting certified as a strength and conditioning coach. And currently, because of the work I did with Mapletree, and some studying that I did and stuff. I am also a certified oncology exercise specialist. So um, I'm looking forward to bringing that whole shebang to the Buell Club and more. I'm also looking to get some group exercise certificates. So I'll be in addition to the staff for that. But also after quarantine's over and everything opens back up, I'm really stoked to get in there and start working with you folks towards your goals. That's what I went to school for. Recently graduated Slippery Rock, like I said in my last video. Um, so I'm super excited to be able to bring my knowledge and my practice to the Buell Club community. I really came to enjoy working with the people up there and just talking to you guys up there um, during my internship. It's an environment that I'm very much so looking forward to working in. So that being said, let's get into a total body workout for the week. So the workout that we'll do is a really simple one. You only need like one piece of equipment, and that equipment could be a heavy box. It could be um, uh, it could be like a couple gallons of water in each hand or a gallon of water in each hand, something like that. Really anything that will feel moderately heavy for you that you can comfortably hang on to with both hands, or if it's one object, something that's symmetrical and a little bit wide, maybe. And you can do it right there in your home. You just want to make sure and do a warm up beforehand. And for some clarification and guidance on what a good warm up generally is, you can look back through the videos for when I did an educational video about that as well. Myself, I just got done jogging a little bit outside, and I also did some dynamic stretches. I took my empty broomstick and went up overhead, down and around to stretch out a few times. Obviously, you don't have to do that range of motion, but you can do something similar to that to stretch out your shoulder girdle and get some good dynamic flexibility in there as well. I also did stuff like shoulder circles, and if you've ever seen Michael Phelps when he does that hug, alternating arms, one over top of the other. I did stuff like that. But I also did just like one round or so of like decreased reps of the workout that we'll be doing. And something else that I've been doing a lot myself in my free time is I've got pretty good mobility, but I'm very tight in my lower extremities, so I've been hanging out in a deep squat for a while, and you don't need to be able to sit completely down into the squat like I do per se, but if you can, like maybe open a door and like hold on to both sides of the doorknob or something like that, and just squat down to where you feel like you can actually relax into it, and then pull yourself up. Hang out in that deep squat position for 4 or 5 seconds, come back up, go back down, repeat. Um, and I also did some calf stretching and and I did a few. I just lost the words in my head. I did a few air squats and some dynamic stretches for my quads and my hamstrings as well. So make sure you get some type of warm up in, like walking with some type of stretches for the front and back of your legs, and some stretches for your pecs, shoulders, and a little bit of your back. just to get everything moving and get your muscles ready to work for the circuit that we're going to do. So, more about the circuit. I won't talk too much longer because the video is already getting to 5 minutes, but so we'll get into it soon. But this is a workout that I would generally prescribe for a general client, a client looking to increase their fitness level, who's got a moderate level of fitness, but maybe honestly even less for that. However, you can really tailor this to any difficulty level, or you can tailor it to to meet the needs of like really anybody's experience level. Um, I usually would use a circuit like this to to work on some muscle building for somebody if their availability throughout the week and their training age, which is simply how long they've been consistently training. So, for example, my training age right now is 4 months because uh, actually, it's 5 months because I started my internship. And at the time I started my internship, I began consistently working out, and I haven't really taken more than a week or so off. Um, and so I would consider that to be my training age. But anyway, um, uh, I would use this for somebody whose training age isn't very much, or somebody who does have a pretty high training age, but they don't have the availability throughout the week to do some more specific training on each day. So I would use this before somebody does, say, I don't know, say 20 minutes of aerobic exercise on a treadmill, walking on an incline, or on an elliptical, or on a bike, or something like that. Um, and it's good for muscle building, good for strength building, but mainly we're working on conditioning with this. And with this, we're going to try and get our heart rates up pretty high, and that is going to be really beneficial for getting some expenditure in there, getting a little bit more bang for your buck out of a simple exercise session. And I think with that being said, we're good to go. So I will show what the exercises are, and then I'll show a modification to each exercise that you can kind of do if you need to. Um, so what I intend for this is for somebody to do this circuit 2 to 3 times through, and depending on how difficult your resistance feels, you might want to stick to the rep range of 8 to 12 for each exercise. Or if you don't have something very heavy for you, so if the stuff that you have is good enough, but it doesn't feel very heavy for you, you might want to stick to a higher end rep range, like 15 to 30 or something like that for each of these. I'm going to stick to 8 to 12 for the sake of time in the video, and because I'm going to end up doing about 3 or 4 rounds of this myself. So we'll get right into it. All right. So the first exercise that we'll do, I'm going to use my 30-pound dumbbells because thankfully I have them available to me and they're adequate for me for this. Um, the first exercise we're going to do is a curl and press. So we will simply bicep curl it, turn our hands outward, and press the weights up overhead. If you have something that's like a box, simply just curl it and go straight up overhead without worrying about turning your hands out or something like that. So I'll show it a little bit more. It's important to keep good posture when you do that. Keep your shoulder blades tucked back. Don't let them roll forward. Don't let your posture slump. The next one that we're going to do is a deadlift. So you'll simply keep a good brace in your core, keep your core tight, shoulder blades back, and simply stick your hips back until you reach a comfortable depth and want to come up. Don't let your back bend when you do this, and try and keep your shoulders engaged the whole time. You should feel a good stretch in your hamstrings and in your glutes. So we'll do 8 to 12 of each of these. And then after that, we're going to do a bent over horizontal row. So you'll go into the position like the bottom of your deadlift, and then you will hold that position. Keep your glutes tight, keep your low back tight. Don't let your low back bend like that. Don't let your upper back round. So we'll do that, and you will simply pull your shoulder blades back, drive elbows back. Shoulder blades, elbows. Shoulder blades, elbows. 8 to 12 of those. After that, with whatever you're holding, I want you to hold it close to your chest, as close as possible, so that it's not way out here. And we're going to do what's called a goblet squat. So we'll be in here holding the apparatus close to you against your chest and squat down. Keep a good brace in your core. Don't let your back round when you get to the bottom, and squat to a comfortable depth. For me, this is a good depth, but for somebody else, maybe a partial squat would be better. After that, push-ups. Very simply, we're just going to go down. I like to take a little bit of a wider grip in push-ups, a wider hand position, and just go down until either your chest touches the floor or your elbows come to a 90-degree angle, which would look like out there. To modify, here's what we're going to do. For the curl and press, you can modify that one by doing one arm at a time, or you can modify it by breaking up those exercises so it's not going from here all the way up to overhead, which could be a little bit difficult. So you'll just do your curls, and then after that, then you'll go into your overhead presses, and then we'll proceed to the next one. So the next one is the deadlift, and you'll modify that one mainly with the depth that you're going. However, you can also modify it by allowing the resistance that you're using to touch the ground, instead of doing kind of like what I did, where I held it at my sides and went all the way down as low as I could possibly go. Whereas if I were to hold it in front of me like this, I could go down a little bit less deep into the rep and come up out of it. So if you have maybe if you get low back tightness, you might want to modify to this so that it takes some stress off of your low back and you can prepare for each rep a little bit better. So with whatever apparatus you're using, hold it close to the top of it and pick it up from there. And if you can see, I'm keeping it right in line with the center of my foot. I don't want you picking it up all the way out in front of you like something like that. Horizontal row. So how we would modify the horizontal row is you can modify it by going into a position like this, where your body is supporting you, and you don't have to hold yourself here. You can go down so that your body's supporting you and do one arm at a time. So that looks like this. So from the side, remember you're pulling your shoulder blade first and your elbow second. Shoulder, elbow, shoulder, elbow. Sorry, I gotta gather my thoughts. The goblet squat. This is something, again, where you can modify it by holding your apparatus down low if it's more appropriate for you to do that than it is for you to hold the apparatus up here the whole time and support it yourself the whole time. So you can still do a squat, whereas you can still do a squat where you're squatting down like this and then coming back up from the floor. You just want to make sure that you're keeping good posture in your low back and in your upper back, and squeezing your glutes, squeezing your quads, and pushing hard when you pick up the weight from the floor again. The deadlift and the squat are a little bit different because for the deadlift, you're mainly sticking your hips back with a slight knee bend, whereas with the squat, you're sitting down. So that's a little tricky to differentiate, but hopefully that helps a little bit. And then with the push-ups, of course, you can modify those by going on your knees, or you can even modify them by using something elevated in front of you to do your push-ups on, and that'll make it a little bit easier. To make it harder, you can put your feet up on like your couch. So now I'll do the whole thing one time through, and you guys can replay that and go through it with me as many times as you see appropriate for yourself. So here we go. Right into the curl and press. Remember, keep good posture. 7 and 8. For time, I'm just going to do 8 of each. And for the deadlift, stick those hips back, keep your low back engaged. Don't let your mid back, upper back round. And that's 8 horizontal rows. And the goblet squat. I'm going to hold my dumbbells both up on my shoulders because that's an appropriate resistance for me for these, but you can just hold the dumbbells or hold your weight in front of you like I demonstrated earlier if that's better for you. So remember, we're sitting down into this to a comfortable depth. We're not doing the deadlift where it's like sticking your hips back before you sit down. And the push-up. I'll do 4 facing and 4 to the side. And repeat that at the end of the whole thing, like at the end of one set of all of those exercises, take like a 45-second to a 2-minute rest, depending on your fitness level and how difficult that was for you. Repeat this until you feel like you got a good workout. I'm gonna do it 2 or 3 more times probably. Have a good one, hope it helps, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.